If not Rahul Gandhi, then who? A question that is being asked ever since Rahul Gandhi quit as, or is in fact wanting to quit as the Congress president after the debacle of the party in the Lok Sabha elections. For 70 years, the Nehru-Gandhi family has been the nucleus of the Congress party, but the last time when somebody outside the family held the post, it didn't go so well for the party, after which Sonia Gandhi took over as the Congress chief. But now that Rahul Gandhi, as he confirmed even today outside the parliament while speaking to media, that he is in fact going to quit, who will be taking over the Congress party? That is what we are going to talk today on QWrap. I am Ishwar and we are being joined by Nishtha Gautam, who has some very interesting scoop. A name, in fact, from outside the Gandhi family who is likely to be the next Congress president. Nishtha, who is it?
Ashok Gehlot. Since you asked the question so directly, so my answer is equally direct. I think the committee, and my sources tell me that Rahul Gandhi, as he told a TV channel today, that he's not part of the committee that is actually vetting the names as to who would be the next chief of the party. And this committee has Sonia Gandhi, Ahmed Patel, K.C. Venugopal, Ghulam Nabi Azad, and I'm forgetting one more name. Anyway, that's not very important, but the important thing here is that it is Ashok Gehlot who in all likelihood is going to be Congress party's next president. Mukul Vasnik is also being considered, but I think the mood is in the favor of Mr. Gehlot.
Nishtha, the last time somebody from outside the Gandhi family took over the party was after the death of Rajiv Gandhi. But eventually they had to get Sonia Gandhi to take over because the party wasn't doing as well as expected. And at that time it was being said that this is the worst the party has performed until the party's performance in 2014, in fact, when Rahul Gandhi was the Congress vice president and Sonia Gandhi was still at the helm. How do you think will it go this time, with Rahul still being there and Sonia still being there as a part of active politics and somebody from outside the Gandhi family taking over?
See, I think it's very important for us to understand that the Gandhi family has always acted as a glue to hold this party of people who hold different beliefs, who have different ideologies, with the entire spectrum, to keep them all together, because that's what Congress has always claimed to symbolize, that we are all for diversity, and that gets reflected in our composition. But the Gandhis have always acted as the glue, which in a way hasn't gone down very well for the party, because it has rendered the Congress party vulnerable to a very justified sort of attack that the party is being run like a fiefdom, being passed on from one generation to another. And when Priyanka Gandhi was brought in finally in a more active role and given some responsibility within the organization of the party, this criticism sort of grew. Right, and rightly so or wrongly so, I would not like to comment here, because when it comes to dynasts, politics, we all know that it's as much a family business as any other, and and the next generation would always come with a certain set of benefits and certain skill sets, right? Now, to see how an outsider is going to fare, and I would like to correct you here a bit, because under P.V. Narasimha Rao, the Congress party was doing rather well. As a matter of fact, if we try and look at his achievements, his failings, I think he has been one of the best prime ministers that we have ever had, and under his leadership the party was also doing all right. But I know what you're referring to. It is about the presidentship of Sitaram Kesari, and those were different times, those were different circumstances. The Congress party was not the party then that it is today. Right, and Sonia Gandhi had to be brought in, and Sonia Gandhi, there are different versions that, one side says that she did not want to participate in politics at all. She wanted to remain aloof. the other side says, and Jaya Jaitley mentioned it in her autobiography, how Sonia Gandhi actually nurtured that ambition. Rahul Gandhi, in contrast, has never said something like that. I mean, I don't remember him saying that, oh, I want to be the Prime Minister of India. Absolutely. It's everybody else around him that has been sort of giving fuel to this idea, not himself. And when he wants to quit, and ever since the election results came out, he made it very clear that he did not want to continue as the president, and he wanted to quit on moral grounds. Now, if he wants to do that, I think the Congress party also needs to understand that they have to look beyond the Gandhi family to take to take this role very seriously, because the party actually needs a certain sort of, how do I put it, a certain shot in the arm for vitality. Right, because it's struggling, and everybody seems to be saying that there is an implosion of sorts which is happening in the party, and whoever it is, and if you look at Wikipedia right now, it has already listed Ashok Gehlot as the current president of the party after Rahul Gandhi.
So, will Ashok Gehlot be the next, in fact, the next Congress president, as Rahul Gandhi is clearly adamant on stepping down? Rahul Gandhi, who is also now an MP from Wayanad. Will he step down, and finally will somebody from outside the Gandhi family take over as the Congress chief? Will it finally put to rest all the allegations of the opposition, especially Prime Minister Modi? That awaits official confirmation, whether it will put all the allegations of the opposition and Prime Minister Modi of Parivarwad to rest. That also time will decide. But we are following all those updates on the Quint's website. So keep following the Quint's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and the website for all the updates on the chatter about the new Congress president there. And now moving on to something from Gujarat. In 1990, IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt, he arrested over 100 people for rioting during LK Advani's Rath Yatra. A man died in custody while that was happening, while all those people were detained. And at that time, the case also died, citing lack of evidence, reportedly. But now, in 2016, the case was reopened again, the court proceedings began again, and today, Sanjeev Bhatt was sentenced to life imprisonment for the death of the man in custody. But the more interesting part is that Sanjeev Bhatt is also one of those IPS officers who had testified against Prime Minister Modi when the probe for the 2002 Gujarat riots was on. We have our legal editor Vakasha Sachdev joining us for comments on this case and this rather bizarre verdict, if I am correct, in calling it, because it has been 29 years since that case, and there are certain things that really make people curious about today's verdict. Vakasha, what can you tell us about this?
So, I mean, to just start off on the facts as well, one interesting point to note is that the person who died, Mr. Vaishnani, he was supposed to be a VHP member, part of a group of people who were involved in rioting. 130 people were picked up for rioting in Gujarat at that time. Now, the thing was that he actually was, in fact, he didn't die in custody itself. He complained of back pain, and then as a result, he was discharged. He was given medical treatment at the prison itself, and then after he was released on bail as well, he then went to a hospital where he later died, and they said he died because of renal failure. And then his brother was the one who then filed the thing saying that this was a case of custodial torture. Now, it's that the timelines here are what are very, very interesting to note. 1990 to 1995, nothing happens on the case. Suddenly in 1995, finally a magistrate decides to take cognizance of it. When the magistrate takes cognizance, at that time the Gujarat government itself immediately filed in a revision application against the taking cognizance, because essentially for a case like this to continue, because it involves a police officer who was acting ostensibly in the course of his official duties, you have to get sanction from the government. So the Gujarat government had to give permission for this case to continue. So they filed a revision application saying, look, we didn't give, sanction for this case to proceed. There were XYZ reasons. They should not have been allowed to proceed and go forward. And then from 1995 to 2011, nothing happens again. Now, this is what again becomes very, very strange. There were attempts in between. There was, I think, a petition was filed in 2007 again by the family where they were trying to get things done. Bhatt was in the meanwhile trying to get the whole case quashed. Nothing happened at that time. Everything just keeps sitting on ice till 2011, and then 2011 happens to be the year when the SIT into the Gujarat encounters takes place. And guess who Sanjeev Bhatt is? He's one of the men who testifies against the Prime Minister. And this happens around February-March 2011. He makes these. He's one. So if you remember, there was a very famous claim made that at a certain that a meeting was held with a lot of the police officers, and they were told not to take action or to sort of let things, let the anger spill over for a few days. I mean, that's the claim which has been made by some of these guys, and was even, I think, was made by Harin Pandya also before he was killed as well. So basically, Sanjeev Bhatt had also made that claim. This is 2011. And then remarkably, 2011, the government withdraws its revision application, which has been sitting. Bhatt tries to go to the Gujarat High Court to challenge it, doesn't work. Goes to the Supreme Court to challenge the withdrawal, doesn't work. And that's why the permission for the trial goes ahead. In the meanwhile, the SIT came up with its thing. So the trial was again almost kind of put on hold while the SIT was making its decision. And then 2015, the moment the clean chit, as it were, came in, it was suddenly, okay, you know what, there was an order passed in 2015 which specifically said that some of the things which Bhatt said seemed to be false and, untrue, or were not at least backed up. And as a result, that's when the case suddenly got its impetus again to be taken up again. Now, the main reason why this case is again held in the news is there were supposed to be around 200 witnesses in the case, of which only 32 testified. The rest of them were just not examined. It wasn't that they turned hostile or anything. The prosecutors just decided not to examine them. Bhatt actually had been trying for the last few weeks to come to the Supreme Court to ask for a extension in the case for additional witnesses to be heard, because he said, for instance, 3 of the officers who were supposed to have investigated him and who were supposed to have investigated the custodial torture and found that there was no custodial torture were not allowed to come and stand as witnesses. The court only allowed another 3 witnesses to be summoned. They said anything else he has to do. But the problem was the Supreme Court had also passed an order earlier saying the whole trial needs to be wrapped up by 20th June. And so basically by 20th June, this was how, again, those witnesses weren't actually even heard. And all of this is the backdrop to him now being held guilty and given life imprisonment.
So a very interesting timeline of events there since October 1990, after a man died allegedly in custody, and today former IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt has been sentenced to life imprisonment. That is also a story that we are following on the Quint's website. So log into the Quint's website for more details on that. But talking about the Lok Sabha elections that were held, the 2019 Lok Sabha elections were the most expensive elections that were held. How expensive? 60,000 crore rupees was spent. 60,000 crore rupees, yes, you heard that right. Now, a report by Center for Media Studies from New Delhi, that is the CMS in New Delhi, has come up with these figures, and the Quint Sushovan Sarkar has spoken to one of the experts at CMS. Here is what how they have decoded the 12-digit figure of rupees 60,000 crores. Take a look.
You can clearly see, in fact, in this election, the people who have been elected, we have maximum number of criminals, we have maximum number of millionaires. What does this prove? That if I do not have enough money to spend in the election, I am unable to even think about contesting. So right there, elections have become unfair to most of us in this country.
You can watch that entire chat on the Quint's website, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. Moving on to another story. Since the early 1990s, at least 1 million people have been displaced from Myanmar who are Rohingya Muslims. They have been seeking refuge in neighboring countries, including India, looking for social acceptance. Now, there are 40,000 Rohingya refugees currently living in India according to official records. And today on World Refugee Day, we are getting you the story of Tasmida, the first Rohingya refugee from India who has ever been able to get to a college. Here is an inspiring story of Tasmida on World Refugee Day. Have a look.
घर 2 मंजिल का लकड़ी का बना होता है. मेरे फैमिली में 6 भाई, मम्मी पापा और मैं रहती थी. और बाहर जो है हर घर में झूला हुआ करता था, तो हर बच्चे रात को आके हम सब वहाँ झूलते थे। मेरी एक फ्रेंड थी यास्मीन, हम दोनों मिट्टी का पतीला बना के खेला करते थे और स्कूल से फूल चुरा के लाते थे उसमें बनाने के लिए। एक दिन मिलिट्री के कुछ लोग आए और पापा को जेल ले गए।
चलो।
जो बिजनेस करते हैं, जिसके पास पैसा होता है, उनको उठा के लेके जाते हैं। पापा जब जेल से बाहर आए तो उन्होंने कहा कि हमारी फ्यूचर बर्मा में सेफ नहीं है, बर्मा हमें छोड़ना पड़ेगा। बर्मा में बुद्धिस्ट, मुस्लिम है, हिंदूस है और कुछ क्रिश्चियंस।
You can watch that full story on the Quint's website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. And for now, moving on to another story, Hardcore, one of the prominent rappers of India, a face that was known in the rapping world even before rap was a big thing in India, has now landed into a controversy, has landed into trouble after she was booked for sedition for a very controversial post against Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat. In a Facebook post, she has said some very controversial things about Yogi Adityanath and Mohan Bhagwat. There is also a video about it which you can watch on the Quint's website and YouTube. And with that, it's a wrap on today's episode of QWrap. We will be back tomorrow with top headlines of the day. So stay tuned to the Quint.